This is Defenders on TV Podcast Industries. We're back with Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 4, Gloves Off. Welcome back, fellow Defenders, to TV Podcast Industries. We're on to the 4th episode of Daredevil Born Again. Only one this week. And we're talking about Gloves Off. And I am one of your hosts, Derek.
Hello there, fellow Defenders. Welcome back. I am one of your other hosts, John.
Well, the week is here, John. We have one episode of the Daredevil Born Again. We have an episode of Invincible. And we have two new episodes of The Boys Season 5, the final season of The Boys, kicking off all on the same day.
Yes.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Happy Easter.
Absolutely happy Easter. And we also had 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord, the Star Wars animated series, which is excellent, but we will have to say, we have said it before, but we'll have to say we can't cover Maul Shadow Lord along with these other 3 shows.
Not at the moment, no.
Yeah, too much.
I think we have the notion that we might cover Maul Shadow Lord, but in terms of being able to fit it in whilst we cover the other 3 shows, that's not quite possible for us. So please bear with us, fellow Defenders, and of course, fellow Rebels, for our coverage of Maul Shadow Lord.
Yes, we could definitely say we really enjoyed it. We've seen 8 episodes so far. There's 2 more that we haven't seen that'll be out on May 4th, of course. And once we've seen the whole series, I think we're going to go back and do a recap of the full show.
Yes. Classic Filoni animation, but actually slightly different. There's some real, almost artwork looking animation, which is really good and gives a nice detective noir style, at least for the new city and planet that we're on. So really good, really interesting style.
The way I've been describing it is if you pause any moment during action, you could probably use that as a background. It's like a great poster for the show. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful animation and a really fun story. So yeah,
absolutely. But let us get in to our 4th episode on Daredevil Born Again. Gloves Off. Yes, it's into the ring.
It certainly is. This definitely felt like an episode out of Daredevil on Netflix, didn't it?
It really did.
Talk in season 2 of that show. Yeah,
and of course a nice little trip back to Fogwell's gym as well.
Yeah,
which we got to see in flashback in the original Netflix show,
and an echo as well, didn't we?
Yes. So really good to see all that. So I think we should get into our spoiler-filled discussion for episode 4, Gloves Off.
Absolutely. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast to get access to all the shows we covered, the ones we talked about there and the ones we're going to be covering later on this year over at tvpodcastindustries.com. But you have been sending in your feedback on the previous episodes for episode 2 and 3 over the course of the last week. So let's have a chat about those, John. First up, we got a voicemail in from Christopher Crone.
Hello, my name is Christopher. My question is, people have started to notice that Charlie Cox is growing more of a beard, and it's getting, thicker. But the question is that, with him growing his beard, if you can drop a hint or 2 or something, are we getting a King Daredevil or the Hand of God Daredevil with Daredevil Born Again Season 3?
Thanks so much, Christopher. Always great to hear a voicemail from one of our listeners as well. The question there about the future of Daredevil Season 3. And we don't tend to speculate too much because it does spoil a little bit of what will happen in this season if we talk about exactly what happened in the comic books. But yeah, there is a character which became King Daredevil, where Matt had his full beard and this awesome Daredevil costume. It's one of the coolest ones from Chip Zdarsky's run on the comic books back in 2022. So it is possible.
Is that Devil's Reign?
After Devil's Reign.
It's after Devil's Reign.
Yeah, after Devil's Reign. So that's the kind of follow-up to that. So yes, it's absolutely possible. The reason why Charlie Cox is growing the beard is that it's something to do with Daredevil, although his character in Kin, which is his Irish-based show where he's an Irish gangster, also has a beard, so he may have just been growing it for that. There's been loads of set leaks of photographs for the filming for Daredevil, but I haven't seen anything of Charlie Cox from those set leaks, just the other stuff that I'm not going to talk about in the podcast here.
Yeah, thanks, Christopher, for the question. Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I think, Devil Reign, I think Daredevil Shadowlands as well,
Mm-hmm.
where you have Fisk on top. It's kind of, what happens if you manage to undermine, remove the Kingpin here? Do you become what you have fought against in order to make sure they doesn't come back? So possibly putting himself as a de facto kind of king in that sense. So it'd be really interesting to see how that works. But I think it certainly fits in with a lot of these graphic novels of Daredevil, Shadowlands, Devil's Reign, and so on that all come through. Plus, with Shadowlands, you have the Hand involved in it, and we do know from the recent trailer for Spider-Man that you saw members of the Hand involved in that. So I guess it's all sort of merging together all these different elements of Daredevil, whether they actually become or take inspiration from those storylines. It'll be interesting to see.
I definitely say in the MCU, they will always take some kind of inspiration from the comic books. There's hundreds of thousands of comic books out there over many, many decades. This particular storyline is similar to the comic books, but quite different. Even, Muse was in the season of Born Again, season 1. Very different character in the comic books, much more central to the storyline. This season has obviously got Mayor Fisk in there again, so they have said they don't want to continue that storyline on forever. So there's a possibility we'll go a different way for next season. And maybe we'll have Elektra Nat Joss back, and perhaps we'll have Matt and Elektra teaming up to lead the Hand after Spider-Man. We don't know.
Interesting stuff. Thanks for those theories, Christopher. Really great to get your voicemail.
Absolutely. And if you want to leave a voicemail, you can go over to our website at tvpodcastindustries.com. There is a voicemail button on there, and you can record up to 90 seconds of your thoughts for us to play on the podcast, just like Christopher did.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, Christopher. Up next is Victor Cherry Von Doom.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Victor, who says, "Greetings, Defenders. It's great to see Daredevil back in form. I was pleased to see the real cops rally around Cherry. Can't wait to see the rest of Daredevil's militia. Looks like Daniel's failing upwards has stalled out. Take a powder, BB. The AVTF jailbreak was my favourite action sequence so far.
Yes.
Not sure the Fisk administration will survive the Northern Star disaster. How long before the governor forces Mr. Charles or Val to cut their losses? Question. Who gets to finally take down AVTF Powell? Bullseye, Punisher, or Daredevil? My money is on Bullseye, as he seems to be the true wild card this season. Daredevil had his chance. Frank is a long shot off doing his own thing, but perhaps he will get back around to the AVTF. It's good to join the TVPI podcast and feedback again. Excelsior, Victor Cherry Von Doom. Good stuff. Welcome back, Victor. Like the question, I would like all three to kind of go on a rampage onto Powell, to be honest.
Take 10 Powell together.
I think in some ways it would be full circle if Frank got to have a go, given, in a sense, it feels like Powell was born out of his praise and
worship, almost
of the Punisher and that co-opting of the symbol. It would feel like that would be a full circle moment.
I agree with you. I think Powell is destined to be taken out by Punisher, and I feel it's going to happen in that movie, the movie that's coming up after the end of Daredevil season 2. Exactly as you say, John. This guy is still walking around with that perverted Punisher symbol on his chest, as if he stands for the same things that Frank Castle does. That's the thing that makes Frank Castle a hero in the MCU, is that he doesn't stand for the type of things that Powell stands for. So he'll want to shut that shit down, and I think he might do that in the movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The jailbreak there down at the port was really, really good. I did like that.
It's cool. Yeah, they've released the making of video for that this week, because it is shown as a one-shot scene. So very cool. Go check that out on YouTube.
Yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely. Welcome back, Victor.
Yeah, thanks, Victor.
We also got an email in from Coffee and Vodka on the last couple episodes. He says, greetings, fellow hot-dogging defenders. Explosive indeed. Whether intended or not, this one's going to have more than a few right-wing nuts tied into knots. Never a bad thing. The tension's ratcheting up even more quickly between Matt and Wilson than it has in seasons past, with the later more canny than he's ever been. Now able to pin the exploding vessel on Team DD, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. You'd think with all the hubbub, it'd bring more NY-based heroes into the fray. Guess they don't quite have fray money though. If the swordsman's entering it, Hawkeye could at least lend a hand. So far, so better. 4.5 trumped up charges, rebar swashbucklers and downsized dock workers out of 5. Peace and take care. Coffee and Vodka.
Great stuff. Thanks, Coffee and Vodka. Yes, it is always the unfortunate siloed superheroes who do like to stay in their lane. They don't think about maybe trying to break down those silos, except in the Defenders, of course.
Yes.
Which is also kind of quite why I like that show, along with the Avengers, of course.
Yeah.
But yes, it's interesting that we've not got Hawkeye. It would be really good if we could get Hawkeye or indeed Kate Bishop involved, as well as a few others, which we do know are going to come along. So it's not going to be siloed forever, I don't think.
I don't think so.
For this season, even though it may only just be another one that crops up.
Yeah, we're only 3 episodes in, remember, of 8. So it's entirely possible we'll get another couple of heroes. There has to be a reason for them to suddenly arrive, right?
I agree, but the Spidey senses are seriously not tingling at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. But maybe he's off of college. We'll learn more about that in Brand New Day. One thing just to remind everybody though, that explosion that was in the river was to kill the workers so that they wouldn't be able to reveal any information about the weapons. It wasn't to pin it on Team Daredevil. It was about an accidental explosion that killed the workers. So if they try and pin that on Matt and Karen, I don't know whether it would make sense in the plan of the Kingpin. This was just to wipe out all the employees that know about the weapons and where they're gone. He was killing that team. So
okay, no, absolutely. But I'm kind of with Coffee and Vodka that Fisk. There's a line there that Fisk is saying we can use this to our advantage. And I feel like because of the breakout from the I guess prison facility in the Freeport, that he can say, well, look, he's come in, he's broken these vigilantes out of prison before their trial, before their sentencing, and at the same time, he also blew this up. So I think there was an intention for him to sort of pin this on Daredevil and other vigilantes to further his cause. Yeah.
Well, he'll do that all the time, I suppose. Yeah, you're probably right. I thought it was just Mr. Charles's plan to just have the explosion kill the workers, and that was the end of the story, so they could close out the ship, I suppose, that it was an accidental explosion and they'd done something great by clearing the stuff off it. But we'll see how that plays out as the rest of the season goes on. On episode 2, we got some thoughts in from Mathematician on Facebook. He says, Trevor is still alive, thankfully, as Matt looks on from the rooftop, hopefully planning the hiding he's going to give out to Powell while he looks at the blade Dex left him. Fisk loses it and kills his boxing coach in anger after finding out Daredevil was at Cherry's house and responsible for saving him from the AVTF. But on the other hand, we get a glimpse of the brilliant mind of Kingpin as he publicly makes Matt Murdock a victim of Daredevil, so he's now being looked for by the entire city. Matt once again paying a price for saving Fisk's life. I still haven't got my head around why he did that. Blake's laptop looks like it's responsible for the leaks that Fisk is angry about, and it appears as though, even though he's sweet-talked his way through it for now, Kingpin has real suspicions about him, showing him pictures of a dead Gallo as a warning. We get a glimpse of the sycophancy in Fisk's circle, and I think it's so clever the way we've paralleled current affairs of an egotistical, powerful leader who surrounds himself with loyalty as the main, possibly only attribute required. BB continued to try and gain some retribution for her uncle's murder, and Cherry's old cop friends help him avoid Powell and the task force getting their grubby little mitts on him. Why was Bullseye at the church asking about Matt's mom? Fisk continues to unload the cargo ship of its weapons in secret, so Matt decides he has to get into the Red Hook Freeport, and meanwhile the White Tiger's widow is arrested by the task force in another scene that scarily parallels some of the real-life actions we've seen in the streets recently in places like Minnesota. As Angela then heads to Kristen's, where she is shown Hector's amulet, is she about to take up the mantle? BB makes more anti-Fisk TikToks, and in parallel to Heather's vision of the Muse, Vanessa is now having nightmares involving Dex. Fisk messes everybody's heads up. All that's left is for Matt to save Josie from capture, while Karen uses her recent combat training to help her capture a task force agent for Matt to interrogate. Only negative was that Lillard was lice this episode. I was really looking forward to seeing more of him here. 4.5 out of 5 score, matching BB's rating for Daniel's cooking. Thanks for that, mathematician.
Excellent.
Yeah, it did look like a good meal, didn't it?
Yes, it looked very yummy.
It did.
Very
We're not going to talk
indeed.
about what the contents of that meal were.
No, absolutely not. Otherwise, we'd be spoiling one of the pub quiz questions.
Exactly. But really glad you're enjoying the episodes, though, mathematician.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm totally with you, like, just how this, whether it's intentional or whether it's simply by happenstance, that how this is kind of mirroring with some of the events going on in the US, in real life, real live sort of conditions. Then it's really interesting.
Oh, wait to see season 5 of The Boys. Yeah.
Well, exactly.
My quote of the week on The Boys is Eric Kripke saying, "We wrote the most outrageous thing for Homelander to say at the inauguration for the president last year when we were originally writing the episodes, and after we'd filmed it, something even crazier happened in real life and we couldn't believe it." So yeah, let's see how that plays out. But yeah, definitely some echoes of real life here in Daredevil too.
And yes, I mean, on your 2 questions as well, mathematician, not too sure why Matt really does try to play the hero with Fisk all the time, and why he tries to save him, but equally, I understand it from his point of view, because yes, he makes life difficult, way too difficult for Matt. And I don't think he would afford, he does afford that similar leeway in a way, in the sense that he won't unmask him, even though he knows who it is. Yeah. He likes to play this game, so it is very much cat and mouse feel to it.
Yeah, but Matt's not a killer,
No, he's not.
He threw Dex off a roof at the beginning of season 1 of Born Again, but that's not a thing he would naturally do. That was like his worst impulses taking over at that moment. Yes. His impulse to save somebody from a gunshot is what happened, and why
Agreed.
I think.
No, and I think that's why he does it, but still, yes. He really does go out of his way to help his adversary. I think, yes, on Bullseye at the church asking about Matt's mum, I'm intrigued about that to see how that plays out. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens there, whether we'll get a little cameo from his mum coming back, and whether there'll be any horrendous stuff going on there.
No, she's on a holiday in the Vatican for a year, John.
Yeah.
Sabbatical, sorry.
She might come back just briefly on her holidays.
Yeah.
Who knows? So we'll see.
Absolutely.
But thanks so much, mathematician.
Thanks, mathematician.
Also on episode 2 over on Discord, Dr. Bob Phillips says, taking a breath after this episode, but feels like dropping 2 today was the right thing. This is part 1, I hope, the stacking of the dominoes, ready to tumble in the glorious display when the White Tiger springs up, works with Target Boy to distract enough ICE agents, task force officers, to let the Red Devil slip into the Red Hook. Not quite enough tension to make it through to next week, or indeed enough to have me rush on instead of leaving a thought while my tea brews. Excellent stuff. On episode 3, Dr. Bob says, this one made me want the next episode, unlike episode 2, a tin can full of escaped non-convicts, a burning boat, and a white tiger cub in waiting. Very much appreciated the moments that developed the second-tier characters in this one. Daniel and the street meat mind control. Generic English villain trash talking at dinner. Jack Duquesne, I know he's going for a fancy French spelling. Calming, taking control of cage release and APV, and Councillor McMuffin, managing to be the first unfiskian inside the detention centre. Excellent. I do like Councillor McMuffin. Breakfast McMuffin. She operates best during the morning.
That's going to haunt me now, Dr. Bob, because the one character's name that I just can't get in my head is Kristen McDuffie. I have to stop every time before I say her name, and now it's going to be even worse. I'm going to be calling her Kristen McMuffin by mistake from now on, I think.
Yeah, I've just got a hankering for a breakfast McMuffin now.
Of course, the show makes you want to eat, doesn't it? Hot dogs, dinner cooked by Daniel, and now breakfast
street
McMuffins.
meat. Ratto van.
Hot dogs are good in New York, regardless of whether they're rats or not.
Mechanically recovered meats.
Absolutely.
Yum-o. But thank you so much, Dr. Bob, for your comments. Really good to get your views. I'm glad that this double header made you, in the end, want to race on to the next episode.
Yeah. Glad you paused, though.
Now.
Yeah, I'm glad that you paused in the middle, though, to have a cup of tea.
Absolutely.
It's always good.
Hopefully it was Yorkshire tea. If not, I think someone will be knocking on his door, the Yorkshire Tea Task Force.
I think they will, but thanks so much, everybody, for your feedback for these episodes. Continue to email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com or pop on over to our Discord, which the details of which are in these here show notes, or you can pop on over to Facebook at facebook.com/groups/tvpodcastindustries. Leave your thoughts over there for us on each of the episodes.
Yes, absolutely. I think without any further ado, let us get into the episode details for episode 4, Gloves Off.
Absolutely, yeah. The episode here was directed by Solvan Slick Naim, who also directed episode 3. We spoke about him last week. The episode was written by Chantelle M. Wells, previously wrote season 1, episode 6 of Yellow Jackets, and is a consulting producer on this season of Daredevil. She wrote the last 2 episodes of Echo. Those ones, Taleo and Maya. So that story being so tied up with Kingpin and what happened to him in the time in between Netflix Daredevil and Daredevil Born Again. So kind of cool to have Chantelle coming on board over here, writing episodes of Daredevil as well.
Excellent stuff.
Love to see Echo arrive back in New York here.
Absolutely.
It would be really cool just even to hear Wilson Fisk go Maya again.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be really good.
Really cool.
And Kate Bishop to do a bit of bow and arrow work.
Yep, absolutely. Maybe Miss Marvel can pop on over.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, loads of scope for multiple Avengers style hookup here in this season of Daredevil.
Team up, John, not hook up.
Well, yes, sorry, team up. Yes, indeed.
But John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with the synopsis for Daredevil Born Again, season 2, episode 4, blah, 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 Gloves Off?
Sure. Benjamin Poindexter starts out his day with a trip to the Bel-Air diner and samples their banana milkshake with whipped cream. While waiting, he draws out Wilson Fisk's Anti-Vigilante task force by pretending Frank Castle is attacking the patrons of the diner. When they arrive, Poindexter wastes no time in executing all of them with everything at his disposal, from cutlery to toothpicks. Having sent his message to Mayor Fisk, he returns to his apartment. Meanwhile, in another hidden location, Karen Page films the testimony of the 19 escaped prisoners who now form part of the resistance. Jacques Duquesne takes his leave to return uptown, leaving access to his considerable bank account to fund the rebels. As he leaves, Christoffy, the Cypriot first mate of Fisk's sunken ship, arrives and shares everything he knows about the illegal weapons transport, including the fact it was all signed off by Vasilius to Enklimatos, a Greek name meaning crime lord. While being taken into protective custody by the US Marshals, but Cashman arrives, shooting and killing Christoffy and his protection. After learning of Bullseye's attack at the Bel-Air diner, Matt suits up as a member of the AVTF and investigates the scene. He tracks a coin on the scene to his old church, Our Lady of Grace, and after speaking to the seminary priest, he locates Benjamin Poindexter's apartment. They fight there, but Dex escapes with a well-placed can fired at a biker's head. In Fogwell's gym in Hell's Kitchen, Mayor Wilson Fisk is readying himself for his 3-round boxing match against Mike the Matterhorn Melendez. Hoping the fight will draw out Bullseye and Daredevil, Fisk sends Vanessa away to meet the governor in Albany to keep her safe. But as soon as her business is complete, she returns to her husband's side. As Bullseye throws a glass statue at Fisk to kill him, it is smashed and a shard embeds itself in Vanessa. But she got a shot off on Poindexter. Before Fisk can react and finish the job, Daredevil has knocked Bullseye out through the window of Fogwell's gym to escape.
Absolutely loads to discuss in this episode, John. I think we should crack straight into our first case note. Order! Order! Time for the defense to present their evidence. So case note number 1, the Bel-Air diner attack. I think we'll start there. I also love the fact that in your synopsis, he's always called Benjamin Poindexter, not Ben or Dex or Bullseye. Even mostly it's Benjamin Poindexter, because still love the name, huh?
Yeah, aka Tony the nice neighbor.
Yes, I do like that. I love starting out with Benjamin Poindexter in his apartment, making his breakfast, starting his day off, and everything seems to be going really well for him.
Yes, and of course we get to meet Mrs. Smithers, his landlady, who thinks he's a lovely, nice boy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony.
Yes.
Tony? Who's Tony?
So really good to see him integrating at least with Mrs. Smithers.
Yeah.
Who I guess he'll be very protective over.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, he heads on down to the diner, a diner we've seen before. I believe the Bel-Air diner is where we saw that big scene between Fisk and Matt Murdock back in season 1 of Born Again. At least it looks really like it. They had that scene where the two of them sat down at the table to chat with each other. I think it was actually the first episode of season 1. But yeah, he comes in. Don't really know what's going on here for a while as he talks to the server behind the counter, asks her what the specials are. You're kind of going, well, he just had a gorgeous breakfast. What's he looking for here? But this is all a distraction. He's calling in a tip-off that Frank Castle, the Punisher, is down in this diner, so they can draw out the AVTF and have one of the best bullseye moments I think I've seen on screen since at least Daredevil season 3, but I think it might even be better than what we saw back then.
Yeah, it was really good. It was just fantastic. It was like the good, the bad, and the ugly. I love the fact he uses the toothpick as one of those like poison darts, like you would expect from the opening of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, it was just the cutlery to hand, all of that kind of stuff just really worked. I love that. I think even a lobster claw was used to the eye. Or
Absolutely,
something.
Yeah.
I say lobster claw, but it was a diner. I can't imagine that they're serving lobster, but it looked like that because I think there was a lobster tank there.
I thought there was, yeah.
Keeps looking at them. So I think it's a high-end diner.
It's the Bel-Air diner, John. It's
exactly.
like Beverly Hills in New York.
It's the fresh lobster.
Yeah.
Prince of Bel-Air.
There you go. There you go. But I love this idea. I love that we have Bullseye here taking down members of the AVTF. Even though he's not necessarily on Daredevil's side, he's the much more violent version of Daredevil in the city, right? Very interesting end though, as he goes out and draws his symbol on the doors with the ketchup pause. He's gonna stand underneath this symbol. If he's taking out every single member of the AVTF, he's gonna let them know that it's him that's doing it, right? That seems to be his new trick here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a statement. Kill zone from the Bullseye.
Yeah.
And really, without a shadow of a doubt, he is going after the AVTF. And I think, Karen and Matt are probably right. He can, whatever he does is going to harm Matt and Fisk.
Yeah.
Because it's a vigilante in the eyes of Fisk, and it's also personal for Fisk. But the extra, the more vigilante, bad news that keeps cropping up is more sort of legitimacy for Fisk's persecution of them. So
True, yeah.
It's all kind of a win-win for Bullseye, as I think Karen and Matt concluded. And it's really good just seeing him sort of milkshake it up in the diner.
It's really good.
Yeah. I liked it.
One thing we haven't mentioned this season is they brought back the original stunt coordinator from all 3 seasons of Daredevil. In fact, I think he worked on all the Defender shows, Phil Silvera. Really cool to have him back here. You can tell that they're showing off the stunt work that him and his team can do, because you wouldn't have had this in a different show, in a different Marvel show. They wouldn't have lingered on these types of scenes. And now, after we saw the breakout episode last week with Daredevil, this episode has the diner attack to kick it off. So really leading into the stunt and action sequences being the key things that people love about Daredevil, I suppose. Yeah,
great opener to this episode, and Bullseye attack.
Absolutely.
The Bel-Air diner. Shall we go on to case note number 2?
I think so. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Charles. We get the return of Matthew Lillard's character, Mr. Charles, trying to assert his control here. We see Wilson Fisk chatting away to Buck Cashman, giving him a little job to go off and do while Fisk is getting set up for his fight. And in the background, Mr. Charles is sitting in the darkness waiting for the two of them to arrive. And weirdly talking about the fact that wombats take a dump in square shapes. That's his introduction here as he's eating away. But the reason he's there is because he's really pissed off, I guess, at Kingpin not delivering the weapons that he said he would be delivering. This is why the weapons were entering New York. They were supposed to be shipped off to Guinea-Bissau in West Africa.
Yes, to win hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's arming sort of insurgents or government forces in West Africa somewhere, but ultimately he's, you know, the arms are not yet on their way and the services are not yet rendered. So Mr. Charles is here to kind of ask, you know, politely as such, when is the shipment of ordnance and weapons going to be on its way? Because it's still there in the warehouse at Red Hook.
Now at Red Hook, that's right. Yeah.
So, this all becomes a little bit of a tense, standoff to see, you know, which is the playground, king in a sense. Is it going to be Mr. Charles with his backing of the state, or is it going to be Kingpin, who's also accompanied by, Book? Book does shoot Mr. Charles's kind of two goons or protection as they come out from the dark, as he's trying to show how real he is with his meaning of, you know, we need these to be shipped and shipped quickly. And I think you get the sense of Mr. Charles suddenly realizing the situation as his two pieces of protection are shot. But he is kept alive. And I think here it's just, I like the fact that Kingpin is, you know, who knows what Kingpin could have done or, you know, but he doesn't tell Book to shoot him. He doesn't tell him to rough him up, or he doesn't go in himself. He says, you know, I'm not your employee. Next time, call. It's courteous. You know, practice patience effectively. Ooh, so I like that. And I like as it finishes this whole scene, you do really see Mr. Charles kind of realizing maybe, just maybe, Val and himself have picked the wrong people to organize this. Certainly as it's going wrong, it's become far too complicated. I think just regular gun runners would have helped, and they wouldn't have attracted the attention of superheroes.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. There's just that really scary moment, the way that Wilson Fisk deals with Mr. Charles. You know, Mr. Charles saying to him, "Oh, we're partners." And Fisk, as you say, going, "Well, not your employee, call in advance, don't just appear," basically. So I love this moment because there's the fear of a character going, "Uh-oh, well, maybe I've overstepped my line here and put myself in a room with someone that could just pull a trigger and kill me." Yeah. You know, I don't have a shield. I don't have anything that can block me. And the two pieces of protection that I brought along to maybe strike some fear into the heart of Kingpin, they're both dead on the floor now with bullets in their brain.
Yes, exactly.
I could also end off like that. Maybe I should step back and give him some space. It's just really interesting that Kingpin would go this far with someone that's connected with the government, let's say. We still don't know really, does he work for any agency, but he is connected to Val. But we don't know exactly whether he is a government agent or not. What would happen? Would his body just disappear and everything be covered up if he was killed?
Well, it feels like they're trying to play into the Contra stuff, like, you know, Nicaragua, all that kind of US involvement in narcotics in Central America. Like that kind of notion. And it's, you know, here you have the agency, making use of something that has ultimately no legal or US legal oversight, i.e. this Freeport. So, really interesting, to see this play out, as they try to assert dominance over one another. And clearly Mr. Charles does, come out on the losing end of this little bout, in the playground of, gun running. I quite enjoyed this.
It just feels like he's not going to come back harder, which you would expect in a different show. It feels like Mr. Charles has actually been put back in his box almost. So we may see him back to help out Wilson Fisk later on in the season, but I don't expect him to come back with a bigger army or something like that to take him out.
I think it's that, or it's even that he would advise how they extract themselves from the relationship. Yes,
that's a good point.
And be more savvy about it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it might be along those lines.
Let's see how that plays out as the season goes on as well. Yeah. Let's get on to our next case now, John. Oh, yes. The resistance fights on.
or lives on.
Lives on, yes.
Exactly. Les Mis.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of South Park, to be honest, when they did the Resistance song from Les Mis, I know, but I prefer South Park.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just something I wanted to call out here. As the season began, we were talking about the fact that Daredevil has changed his costume color. He's turned it to a black color instead of the red color, but left the DD symbol on his costume. And I remember reading some of the reviews, kind of going, "Well, that doesn't make sense. He doesn't call himself Daredevil. He's Matt Murdock in a costume. You know, why would he have these two Ds as a symbol?" And here we are in this situation now in season 2 where people are rallying behind Daredevil as their symbol. They're rallying behind this person that's up against Mayor Fisk and what he's doing in the city. We see it being spray painted on walls now, and now we see the resistance behind Daredevil getting bigger and bigger after the escape from Red Hook last episode, with the 19 prisoners now out. They're all now sitting down recording their video messages, which will become a bigger rallying cry as they get spread out amongst the rest of the New Yorkers. First person we see is Angela Del Toro's aunt, Soledad, talking about her experience and what happened to her, why she ended off in the prison in Red Hook. And these messages will eventually get out to the public through the means that Karen Page has created to get all this information.
Exactly. I guess through BB Ulrich, and so on. Yeah, no, it is really good. I like the fact that as well you have Jacques Duquesne here as well, saying just in relation to the fact that the interlocking D's is now a symbol. You know, you have Duquesne saying, "You're not a hero. You're a symbol now for the people of New York." And I like that notion, something that they can rally behind. And then you have Karen, as you say, coming in with these videos, that will sort of leak out into, the consciousness of the people of New York. Yeah. And all the while, I think, they do now have some funds. Like I kind of like that little touch, because invariably you don't really get a sense of their financial arrangements for superheroes unless they're already huge multimillionaires or billionaires like Stark and so on. Otherwise, they're just kind of ultimately have endless pots of money where you don't know quite where they come from. Exactly. There was always the good thing with Ironheart, in that it kind of showed Riri struggling ultimately and having to take a deal with the devil just to make her dreams come true, because she had no means for bankrolling her efforts of what she actually wanted to do. And it put it into a really lovely grey area. Here the grey area is removed because Duquesne has been rescued, and whilst he's not necessarily going to be on the front line, he's happy to give them his credit card.
I kind of love this, really. You know, Jack Duquesne, the actor who plays him, is a very well-known actor. He was in Better Call Saul as a main character in there. He's appeared now in Hawkeye and in season 1 and season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, but he's taking a step back, and I love his reasoning behind it. You know, he is a very, very wealthy person who was framed by Wilson Fisk and then arrested by him. And he's just kind of going, I have been in this suit for 6 months. I need to get home to my house. I guess Daredevil can call on him if he needs to again, but the swordsman will be out there if required. But really what he's saying to him is, here's a bank account. I've given Karen the details. Any money that you need, no matter what it is, take it from there. And now you don't have to question it again. Nobody has to go, how did they possibly get into that hotel or whatever it is that they're going to be doing? How do they feed themselves? You know, they're on the run. They have no funds, no access to anything, but now they have access to this private account from Jack Duquesne. So, nobody should be able to connect those two things together. Yeah.
I also like the fact that through this episode, you see the image files being passed to the kid who was shoplifting. Cool. In order to do some fixing up of the video footage, almost like as a handler of it, I think, though more so, to pass it on to BB Ulrich.
Exactly.
So that she has then these videos. So I like how that's done, because it is the handoff of the SD card is done like at the fight. So in the heart of, in a sense, the Lions Arena.
And the belly of the beast,
the belly of the beast. So
I get the feeling, though, in that handover, that the kid's going, our whole family's at home, what's the BB report? And I think Daniel initially kind of goes, okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think he does see the drop. I'm not sure if he's...
I was questioning that myself, does he or does he not see the drop? Because he's then very close to BB Ulrich all the way through, and you're wondering, is he putting his hand, is he trying to then lift it off her?
Maybe.
To at least see what it is, but equally, if he's got it, that he can protect her, I still think he's willing to protect her, but we need to see how far that friendship or relationship goes.
Yeah, I still don't know. I'm wondering whether, if she does something again. Remember, we had that discussion last time where he said, both of us could die if you do this again, so we need you to lay off. And if he connects her to all the testimony coming out from the rebels, will he just turn her in to sacrifice her to save his own skin? I guess.
So it'd be interesting to see here.
Absolutely. And the last kind of section of this resistance is Christophe, the
first mate.
Yeah, the first mate on the ship, who arrives to tell them all the information he has about the ship, how it was so undercover, all the things that he knows about how it was dealt with by Fisk and how he is able to connect it to the Kingpin. He knows, unlike every single trip he's ever made in the past, that the ship was allowed to go through ports that shouldn't have allowed it through. All the documentation was signed off by Vasilis to Enklymaisos, which in Greek means crime lord, connecting it to Kingpin, of course.
Yeah.
So he has all of this information, and Kristen is dispatched to take that testimony from him, recording it all from him.
Yes, absolutely. So really glad to see Christophe back in play here, and having to get him over to Kirsten so she can get his statement. So Karen, Kirsten have a moment as well later in the episode as she's trying to get Kirsten on board to do this, because of course she's just had a really dreadful court case.
Yes, she has.
So she's wondering how best, or whether she should even be getting involved in this resistance, being that the other side of the legal framework in a sense, So I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yep.
But she does manage to get his testimony. Is it a deposition, I guess?
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember. But anyway, gets his testimony. But ultimately,
I can't remember what
does he survive the night? Doesn't look like it, but we don't actually see or hear anything drop. And then we have Buck Cashman sort of saying good evening to Christophe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now whether he did pull the trigger and you hear the gun go off, or whether it kind of pans away from this. And so I think there was a little bit of a lingering doubt as to whether Christophe possibly had survived or not. Is it better for them to take him in alive or rather than dead? But certainly, he takes out the two US Marshals.
He kills the two. Yeah, if you're going to kill the two US Marshals, you're probably going to kill Christophe as well. But I guess, again, another thing to find out next week on next week's episode. But yeah, big moments here. And I love that the resistance has developed even further, and that they've got all this information about what happened with the ship. They can now kind of tie off exactly why it was connected to Fisk, and they have all the information that they need for that now, all recorded. And I wonder if Fisk doesn't know that because Kristen has done the interview, right? He doesn't know that they have all that information recorded, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think with the US Marshals involved, I wonder if that suggests, has he already seen a lawyer?
Maybe, yeah.
The National Law Enforcement is there.
Yeah.
So who knows how they will interpret that.
Yeah, I thought Fisk's influence had gone really far, that the marshals were taking him to Buck Cashman, and then the two of them got shot in the head, and I was going, oh, hang on a second, this is not playing out the way I thought. Maybe he doesn't have that much influence. But I think that's it for the resistance. Let's move on to our fourth case note, John.
Indeed.
Order in the court. Yeah, we have a little detective mass in this one. Our case number 4 is tracking down Dex. And this is really cool. We see Matt in the AVTF disguise popping down to the Bel-Air diner to track down Dex. Also because we can kind of replay the scene afterwards as to what could have happened, and we have Matt investigating the room. And in amongst all of the damage and death that's there, he's able to find this coin that comes from his church, Our Lady of Grace, left behind by Dex. And it feels like he's left that for Matt Murdock to find.
Do you think? Yeah, maybe.
It feels like an odd thing to carry with you, a coin from the local church, especially because it's connected to Matt Murdock, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, even just the church having its own currency seems a bit odd to me, but I guess it's like a novelty coin that you might get in a gift shop.
That's more likely, yes. I don't know whether Catholic churches call them novelty coins or not. I think it's more. I think it's maybe just a chip for the church, something like that. Maybe for funding or.
It's like the old systems where it's like you have to go up, pay for your ticket, but you get a coin in order to do some random mechanism.
Yeah, like Disney money.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it's like that. Yeah. It's like Disney money. But no, this is good. Him sort of doing his investigation and his detective work. And then it leading on, finding Our Lady of Grace coinage, and then effectively getting to a place that is very familiar to Matt Murdock, where he catches up and speaks with the seminary priest, priest to come, I guess, in inverted commas, and who, they chat about this and tells him about Poindexter being there looking for penance.
So he's kind of covering for Father Lantham, who is no longer with us in the show. He's there to cover the church until a new priest comes along to take over the church, effectively. So he's a seminary priest. He's not fully qualified to be in the church. It's just an interesting one. I'm glad they had the moment to show that he's still alive, that Dex didn't kill him, because that felt really threatening last time.
Didn't it? Yeah.
I'm here for some penance, and my penance is your death, or something like that.
He did survive, which is good.
Yeah.
He's been very trustful. He's keeping, everything very close to his trust, I guess. Yeah. In not really blurting everything out, but he does at least, confirm to Matt that Poindexter was there.
Well, yes, this is a Catholic story. That the Daredevil story, he has to show that the priests will not reveal your true secrets. If you go in to give your confession in the church, they're not going to reveal your secrets. But yeah, we get this kind of, as you say, confirms that Dex is close by. And yeah, we see the real superpowers of Daredevil in this show. These are considerably bigger powers than he's had in any of the shows that Matt Murdock has appeared to in the past, because from across the road, he can hear inside Dex's apartment. I don't think most people standing outside the door of someone's apartment could hear inside their apartment, but Daredevil, with his superpowers, can hear from across the street in the church, Dex in his apartment, the other side of the road. So, he's able to pick out where he needs to get to, confronts Dex in his apartment, and the two of them have their battle.
Yeah, no, this was good. I think for really two things for me. One was where effectively Dexter is holding Mrs. Smithers hostage, who suddenly realizes he's not quite a good boy anymore. Yes. Well, it's to keep Matt at bay, that Matt won't go in and attack him. So I say hostage, I just mean in that moment. Yeah. He has her round the throat, threatening to kill her if Matt goes after him and continues the fight, which he does. Mrs. Smithers does survive the ordeal. But I like, they talk about good deeds, and Poindexter's there going, one good deed is to go after Fisk and kill the thing you couldn't do. And, ultimately, that's the truth of the matter. As we discussed earlier in the feedback, why doesn't Daredevil just simply allow Fisk, through the course of his very high risk profession, which is a crime lord, get killed by someone such as Bullseye, like in last season? Yeah. And he doesn't.
He can't do it. This is the argument that they had back in season 2 of Daredevil, with Punisher on the roof Daredevil tied up, the two of them having their argument, Matt saying to Punisher, why do you kill people? Why would you murder people all around you? And Punisher going, some people deserve to die. This is the consistent argument throughout all Daredevil storylines. Why wouldn't he kill someone to end their reign as Mayor of New York? Well, technically, Wilson Fisk was voted in as Mayor of New York. If Matt Murdock shoots him and kills him, he is a criminal, right?
No, that is exactly true. It's more that sways it for me. I think because it really becomes a Batman and Joker relationship, of like, I've sworn not to kill people, but I might lose my control every so often and go mental with that sort of promise to myself, like he almost did with Poindexter. I do think that Poindexter is right, though. How many crime lords is Daredevil saving? Not very many, because they're still getting killed. So it's not because he thinks people don't deserve to die because people are dying through being a crime lord throughout New York City. Yeah. He doesn't get there in time. This is because there is a personal connection, a la Batman and Joker here, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it goes fundamentally to Matt Murdock's makeup. He's a Catholic. He doesn't believe in the death penalty. He believes in somebody going to prison and serving their time. He wants to expose Fisk to all of New York. He wants to reveal what's behind him. This is the conversation he had with Karen when Karen was going, we should kill Fisk. That's what Frank would do. Matt was going, no, we need to expose it. I have to believe that when the truth comes out, everybody will turn on Fisk, take him down, and he will be behind bars.
It's the lawyer
suffering
in him,
for him.
for
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. And the Catholic. Yes.
I guess. But it's still weird, I think, a little bit to me that he is so... Because it's a fixation.
I'm on Matt's side. I'll have to say that. Yeah.
It's not that I'm not on Matt's side. I'm just like, it's not about size. I'm just thinking Matt is fixated absolutely on Wilson Fisk to his downfall, to the point of... I think he probably doesn't want him to be killed so he doesn't become a martyr, but equally I can see Bullseye's point, and Bullseye is, at least in this moment, trying to say, look, one good deed deserves another.
I know.
But it's interesting.
I know. He's trying to say that even though Matt won't kill Kingpin, he wants him dead, and he's willing to do that for him, to save his soul almost. And Matt's kind of trying to convince him, no, that's not what I want. Punisher wanted to do that, Karen wanted to do that, now Poindexter's saying, I will take him out, I will kill him, and Matt's going, no, I don't want him dead, I want
understand
to expose
the legal thing more than the Catholicism,
the death penalty
thing.
Well, that's kind of the thing with Matt. I guess he'll get into this argument for the rest of his time, right?
Agreed.
But my favorite moment, and possibly my favorite Bullseye moment from this episode, is how he gets away when he lands in the bin outside, grabs a can from inside it, times it perfectly, throws the soup can directly out in front of him and hits a motorbike going by, like on purpose, obviously, but hits the biker in the helmet, knocking him off the bike, takes the bike, and off he goes. What a great escape from Bullseye. I think seeing those kind of moments with Bullseye are great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has lots of this episode.
I'm really enjoying Bullseye this series so far.
Me too.
I think always been a favourite of mine.
Yeah.
And certainly with Wilson Bethel and his portrayal, I'm really glad that, I like that him being sort of in the shadows, but I like the fact that in this episode, he's had a good number of moments with the opener, and now here as Matt Murdock tracks him down. Yes. So I really like that.
And he has one more to go.
Indeed, he does.
Final case note. Oh, seconds out, gloves off. Time for a battle in the ring, I think.
Indeed, round one. There's I think two elements that I really like about this. One is the actual fight. I love the contrast between Daniel, who is buying all the junk food in the venue, as well as all the Wilson Fisk merch, but also his enjoyment at the fight, where that contrasts with Sheila's expression of simply, I can't believe the mayor is doing this. Yeah. I mean, it's priceless. Sheila's expression here, Sabrina Guevara here, her expression is fantastic, really in the shock that's comes across her face as you see the fight unfold between Wilson Fisk and the Matterhorn.
Mm-hmm.
I do also like that on the flip side of this, a slightly more sedate thing, which is really Vanessa effectively being asked to go upstate to speak with the governor, Governor McCaffrey, so that she's not around, purely because Wilson Fisk, whilst this fight against the Matterhorn is on the face of it trying to raise money for the community projects, it is another way for money laundering. It's a front, according to B.B. Ulrich, for money laundering, but also for bringing out potentially the Vigilantes, Bullseye, and Daredevil. So I kind of like that, but I do like that other sort of calmer moment. There's this other kind of little sparring match between Vanessa and Governor, as Governor McCaffrey here is possibly doing a bit of a divide and conquer here, kind of saying, I can work with Mayor Fisk and his wife Vanessa. Can you temper his darker impulses? So she sees these darker impulses. I can work with you, but I'm suspicious of I think she calls him your white bull. And I know he wields how he wields his power. I kind of like this conversation between these two powerful women.
It's a great conversation. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because, a couple of episodes ago, we were wondering whether the governor knowing about Red Hook, is that the end of Wilson Fisk? And is she going to just redact the facility there, that she'll stop Red Hook being this place where they can bring anything through? And it seems here she's telling Vanessa, actually, if Vanessa stays by his side and keeps his darker impulses down, then he can continue going about the business that he's got. Once again, another person is allowing Fisk to get away with this stuff that he's doing.
Exactly. I think she can see some of the good stuff that he's, on the face of it, he's doing, but she knows there are dark impulses there, and that's what I like about it. She's very conscious of who Wilson Fisk is, but she's intrigued by this woman who is by his side and loyal. I mean, she asks her, how did you end up with him? I can back Mayor and Mrs. Fisk. And Vanessa is absolutely, I can temper him and bring out his best. It's part of Fisk's survival strategy as well. She's trying to make these connections and potential allies, at least at a personal level, to hold off or to prevent anyone rummaging further into Wilson Fisk's business. So, and that's the thing. Maybe, I think, as Governor McCaffrey has said, we've heard the rumors, and it's not just about maybe his time in the office of New York's mayor, but it's also the rumors from back in the Marvel Netflix days,
all the murders he's committed.
The swirling of rumors around Wilson Fisk. So I really like this conversation. As I say, it's another kind of head to head, but one that is done in a very different way and has a very different outcome than this kind of shock fight match between the mayor and a heavyweight champion.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And once again, there's the subjective nature of the words being used here. Will you bring out the best in your husband, Wilson Fisk? Oh yeah, I can make sure that I bring out the best in him. Will you manage his darker impulses? Yeah, I can stop his darker impulses. This from the woman that allowed him to kill the man she was cheating with last season. Exactly. So, Vanessa's just as bad as Wilson Fisk. She just can manage it quite well. When I like that. Yeah, I can definitely bring out the best in him. We will have a lot of money after this, mayoral race, or this mayoral, control that he's had over New York, I think, is where she stands. But it is interesting that another person that could have taken him down is stepping out of the way, saying, well, that's fine. I'll allow him to do what he's doing, knowing that he's doing criminal activity, right?
Exactly.
Crazy. But you're right, this fight that's going on between Matterhorn and Wilson Fisk, it seems to be very one-sided. And even in feedback, somebody else mentioned there earlier on about his trainer and whether Wilson Fisk killed the trainer, because I thought that too when he punched him through the mirror for interrupting him. Here we have, in this 3-round showcase fight, Fisk is hitting the guy pretty hard, but he gets one hit on him when Fisk is distracted at the arrival of Vanessa, isn't it? When Vanessa returns, and he is beaten to a pulp.
Absolutely.
Like, he's absolutely beaten. And I'm wondering whether he survived. I didn't see him moving later on.
It's a tough one to call. I think he's certainly being stretchered off and will be in hospital.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, as I say, I was just engrossed by Sheila's expression of seeing her boss sort of brutalize this heavyweight champion in the name of community projects. I'm like, yeah. I think she's also coming up with a backup plan very quickly. I mean, even BB Ulrich there sat with them. Is like going, what is going on here? Like, it is a glimpse behind the curtain here, I think, for Sheila. And BB, it's a glimpse behind the curtain, but something that confirms what she's doing in her other reports.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting seeing their expressions for me here. And also then the expression of Fisk as he sees that Vanessa has arrived back from her meeting with the governor in Albany and is suddenly in harm's way of this bear pit that he's created in effect. And bear trap in a sense. So I like all how that just comes together neatly with the arrival then of Bullseye to finish Fisk off. Really.
Yeah, like she really couldn't have put herself in a worse position, could she? You know, the whole thing is Fisk is trying to keep her away because he knows it's going to draw out at least Daredevil, maybe Bullseye, because in the background he's being told that someone with very good skills is killing people around the AVTF effectively. So he kind of knows if Vanessa comes here, she's in danger. But she goes into the ring with him when he is claiming the win, and she goes in to celebrate in the ring with him just as Bullseye arrives, killing all the AVTF officers in the room. Love just how many ways they show him killing everybody around. And then he picks up one of the glass statues of New York City that have been on sale, and that might even be the one that Daniel bought, but throws it in the direction of Wilson Fisk and Vanessa. It gets broken in flight, and a piece of the glass goes into the head of Vanessa as she shoots back towards Poindexter, hitting him as well. So
like Bullseye gets injured. Vanessa ultimately gets hit by shrapnel from this broken glass statue, and Daredevil arrives and winches him through the window effectively to safety. So again, it's just, it ultimately ends up in a bit of a car crash for everyone involved. Really even, to what extent does this potentially upset the recent handshake agreement between Vanessa and the governor? If Mrs. Fisk potentially is no longer there to temper the dark impulses, then all bets are off around that agreement just recently reached. It's an interesting cliffhanger to leave it on. Is the kind of shrapnel hit on Vanessa, is that a lethal hit? And the same with Bullseye. They're now as well on the run because you do have Powell and all. There are moments through this episode Powell is ramping up protection at this fight in case one or both of them show up. They have done so. There's a lot of AVTF floating around Fogwell's gym. So
a few less after this episode.
Well, no, exactly. But really good part and end to this episode for me. A real cliffhanger to kick off episode 5.
This is one I'm so excited to hear what our fellow defenders have to say about this episode. We talk about it. Luckily, we get to see these episodes a little bit in advance. But the minute I saw this cliffhanger, I was going, wow, I'm really excited to see what people think about this when it gets out there and then people get to watch this episode. We had 2 episodes last week. This week, we just have the one, but it ends on such a great cliffhanger. And there's so much great stuff coming up on the rest of the season. I'm so excited to see. Really, really good. There's no Whiskey Watch that I can think of this week.
Absolutely not.
But one thing I do want to mention, there's an interview with the actress who plays Kristen McDuffie and Charlie Cox is with her. The question that she's asked is, what does her character like to drink? And she mentions whiskey. She loves whiskey shots to cheer herself up after a terrible day in the court. And I was still going, no, there has to be a branded whiskey. Nobody that drinks whiskey will say, I just drink whiskey shots.
Exactly.
Do they? Come on, we need a branded whiskey.
I don't think so. Maybe it's just because it's bourbon. It's just that nature of it being a shot of whiskey. Yeah. Bourbon's quite fiery.
But most people would go, I like a Jack on Ice, or I like, a Southern Comfort and Coke or something like that if they drink bourbon. They would say something like that. Or they would say a high-end bourbon. I don't know high-end bourbon, so I'm not going to help. Yeah. But yeah, I'd expect someone who drinks whiskey a lot to choose a brand. But it's Disney Plus, I guess. They don't want to pay for that. Anything else on the episode that we want to talk about, John, that we haven't talked about throughout our case notes?
No, nothing from me.
Well, then that's it, John.
Silence. Do you defend this episode?
I do. I really do defend this episode. I give it 4.5 beans means bikes out of 5.
Nice.
I love the fact that you had Benjamin Poindexter here in full flow.
Mm-hmm.
I like the troubled relationship between him and Matt, and how that's kind of played out in Mrs. Smithers' flat. I like how you have this fight at Fogwell's gym, the symbolism of it being in Fogwell's, the reason behind it for Wilson Fisk, the sheer terror on Sheila's face that her boss has just literally brutalized a heavyweight champion, and what that means for the type of character that he is. I think she knew that anyway, but again, it's all layering, with Commissioner Gallo, this, and so on. I think some really potential interesting stuff with Daniel and BB, depending on whether he did or didn't see that SD card being sort of dropped off in a pocket by Javi. I think there's loads of great stuff in this episode. The confrontation of Kingpin and Mr. Charles, really good. Vanessa and the governor's meeting, that kind of candid chat between the two was superb. And what does it mean now that Vanessa is wounded, possibly in a lethal way, from Bullseye's hit on the fight and his attempt on her husband's life? So yeah, for me, absolutely loved the different elements of this episode. Give it 4.5 beans means bikes out of 5. I think you might only understand that if you're from the UK or
you
Ireland.
might, yes.
I don't know whether the US had that type of advert for Heinz beans.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yes, it's a classic, and a classic moment as the can knocks the biker off his bike.
Really good.
Really cool. I defend this episode as well. Really enjoyed it. Another really, really strong episode. And again, lots more to come this season. It's really interesting. At the beginning of the season, all we could talk about was Daredevil is going to be teaming up with Jessica Jones this season. Can't wait for it. I'm not missing her. I can't wait for her to come on the show. Agreed. But I'm not missing her because the show has been so good. What we're actually getting delivered is great. Moments like these moments with Bullseye, where he's blaming something on Frank Castle just to get the AVTF down, and then he starts using crab claws to kill people and toothpicks. It's so cool. Give everybody their due, and then we'll get Jessica Jones, and she'll hopefully have a great moment, not a cameo.
Absolutely. I mean, I even do like that Benjamin Poindexter as Bullseye does deliver a high-end kill with the lobster claw to the eye. I'm kind of almost like, would you like a beurre blanc with that, sir?
Your
poured into the other eye, just fresh off the hot plate.
I like that he also left the guy and his dog alive. Yes. He just talked to the two of them and then walked out. But there was a moment where I was going, he's just going to kill everyone in the room. No, he only wants to kill AVTF officers.
But I do think, to the point with Bullseye, okay, I'm not saying in all cases, but there is, at least that suggests he's not just, he is a precise killer.
Yes.
He doesn't go after one man and his dog.
Exactly. Yes.
It is that I'm here for a purpose. If it involved that one man and his dog, that one man and his dog would absolutely be dead.
Yes.
But he is laser guided knives. Ultimately,
he is a focused sociopath or psychopath.
Exactly.
At least at this moment. And the one thing I do wonder is, was it Vanessa Fisk that it was his target? Just like last season, we found out it was actually Vanessa he was trying to kill, and that's the shot that was blocked, killing Wilson Fisk. Was he going after Vanessa here, or was he going to take out Wilson to punish Vanessa and then was going to take her out later?
Yeah.
You know, and here, almost accidentally, he's ended off taking out Vanessa.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
Is that him done then? Is that Bullseye finished with his mission because he's taken out Vanessa, the person that made him sign that contract to kill Foggy, you know? So I wonder, let's see how that plays out as well. But yeah, definitely defend this episode. And I think we need a whiskey, John.
I think we do.
Yeah, let's get on over to the bar for our bar quiz.
Yes, fellow defenders, fellow quizzers, welcome to Josie's Bar Quiz for episode 4. We're on to question 4, and it is, how much does Mike the Matterhorn Melendez weigh?
Well, with his block knocked off in this episode, he might weigh a little bit less than he did at the start.
He lost a lot of fluids.
He may have. John, do you want to give the question one more time?
Exactly. How much does Mike the Matterhorn Melendez weigh? And for an extra point, how much does Wilson Fisk weigh?
Very good. Yes.
Let's just throw that one in.
I like that.
Because I wrote it down and we haven't said it in the episode.
Good. Yes.
It's live quiz making.
I love it. That's it. That's the 4th question in our pub quiz for season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Get your answers in at the end of the season 2 feedback at tvpodcastindustries.com with all 8 questions, and you could be in with a chance of getting your hands on some Daredevil Born Again goodies. As we mentioned earlier on, there's loads of stuff that we're covering at the moment. We have Invincible going on. Really, really good season of Invincible. This season's been fantastic. And the final season of The Boys is kicking off this week. 2 episodes coming out on the 8th of April. We will be covering those on this feed here as well, and of course on our Boys and Invincible feed. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, do that over on tvpodcastindustries.com, and you'll have access to every episode that we cover.
Yes, you can also support the podcast over on Patreon or by meacoffee.coms. Just search for TV Podcast Industries, and of course share the podcast, because sharing the podcast is of course sharing
the love. Yes, not the punches.
We'll be back next time with our chat about Daredevil Born Again season 2 episode 5, The Grand Design.
Looking forward to that one.
Yes, indeed. And of course the next question in our Josie's Bar Quiz.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us. Speak to you again next time.
Yeah, great stuff, fellow defenders. Remember, until next time, keep watching, keep listening, and of course keep defending.
Bye.
Bye. Governor McCaffrey, I guess, is using a bit of a divide and conquer tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Divide and conquer theme.
Just giving her a car. Yeah. In a 3-round fight with the Matterhorn, it's a showcase. I get it, but Fisk is hitting pretty hard on this guy, and then nope, that's not the right way to say that.
Silence.